there! My name's Dave, and I'm one of the product specialists here at Ramsey Subaru. Today we're going to be doing a video demonstration of your new 2020 model year Subaru Forester. We're going to be taking an in-depth look at some of the various features that your vehicle has to offer, and going over some of the basic setup procedures that you normally go through with any new car. Let's get started! Before we get started, keep in mind that your new Subaru will have a 1,000-mile break-in period. During these first 1,000 miles, the various engine components are getting settled from the factory. That means that you're going to want to keep the engine under 4,000 RPM, as well as allow the vehicle to see a variety of driving conditions. A little bit of city, a little bit of traffic, a little bit of back road, and a little bit of highway. You want the vehicle to experience the various driving conditions that it'll see throughout the lifetime of the car. Other than that, keep in mind, you're going to want to avoid using the cruise control for those first 1,000 miles if you can do so as well. Now, your vehicle does have an oil change interval of every 6 months or every 6,000 miles, whichever comes sooner. This vehicle will take synthetic oil and full synthetic oil only. Just keep that in mind. Other than that, I just want to say congratulations and welcome to your new Subaru. On Subaru models equipped with keyless access, you will find this style key fob. Now, while this key may be a little different from the standard key our Subarus might have had in the past, it's going to have the same features as well as several new additional benefits. Working our way through the buttons on the key, we'll find the lock, unlock, trunk, and panic alarm buttons in that order. Again, lock, unlock, trunk, and panic alarm buttons in that order. Flipping the key around, we're going to have access to, by pressing the silver square here, a physical key. With this physical key, we can either open or close the door or the glove box. Now again, working our way back to the front of the key, we're going to have the ability to lock, unlock, open and close the trunk, or turn on and off the panic alarm button. Now, pressing the lock button once will again issue an audible tone. Pressing it again will issue a similar tone, and a third time will give us a louder tone, just like so. The unlock button, one press will unlock the driver's door, and two presses of that button will unlock all four doors, as well as, depending on the car, possibly the hatch. The trunk button on power liftgate equipped vehicles will be about a 3-second press and hold, 1, 2, and 3, to either open, or once opened, to close the power liftgate. And then, of course, lastly, the panic alarm button here, press and hold, and the vehicle's panic alarm system will trigger. Now, one of the main benefits of this keyless access system will be the ability to enter or exit the vehicle without ever having to reach for the key fob itself. There's a sensor behind the handle, as well as on the handle, that is actually going to function just like our lock and unlock buttons do on the key fob. I'm going to lock the car for demonstration's sake, and then from there I'll demonstrate simply by sliding my hand behind the handle that the car will unlock for me. Similarly so, if I wanted to lock the car, I could simply press the 2 horizontal lines imprinted on the door handle, and the car would lock. Again, to reiterate, as long as the key fob is on your person, sliding your hand behind the handle will unlock the car for us, and placing your fingertips on the 2 horizontal lines here will lock it for us. If you've owned a Subaru Forester in the past, you may be used to releasing the gas cap with a pull tab inside the vehicle. On the new Forester here, the gas cap is released with a simple press on the cover here. It can be latched shut, again, by pressing and latching it shut like so. What's really convenient about this cover is you're no longer looking for a pull tab on the floor. Now, as long as the vehicle is unlocked, the gas cap is accessible, and if the vehicle is locked, the gas cap will not open. That means you simply use the unlock button inside the car or the unlock button on your key fob, and the gas cap is accessible to either yourself or a gas station attendant as necessary. On all Forester models, you'll have access to the trunk by pressing the button located below the Subaru logo here. Pressing this button will allow us to either open the trunk, or if your vehicle is equipped with a power liftgate, It's going to be one of the several ways that you can gain access to that trunk space. Pressing the button here, pressing and holding the trunk button on your key fob, or pressing and holding the trunk button inside the driver's cabin are the various ways that you can access the trunk space inside your car. Once the trunk is opened, we can close it from the driver's cabin, from the key fob, or using one of these two buttons here. We'll take a closer look at these buttons in just a moment, but again, pressing either of these buttons will allow the trunk to close for us if that's the method we prefer to use. If we take a closer look at these buttons here located on the trunk itself, you'll notice that one looks like a little lock and the other one is an icon of our trunk closing. This lock button will actually lock any doors inside the car that are currently unlocked and then close the trunk for us. Whereas this button here, the trunk close button, will simply close the trunk and leave the currently locked or unlocked doors as they were previously. Again, pressing either of these buttons will close the trunk for us. If we take a look inside the trunk of our Forester, we'll find access to several great features. If your vehicle is equipped with a privacy cover, you can install it in a square cutout on either side of the trunk. It's going to simply slot into place. Very easy to install and remove. I'll cover that in more detail in just a bit. On the left-hand side here, we're going to have access to a 12-volt power port, so you can plug in and connect any devices that you may need to. On Forester touring models, you're going to have a release on the left and on the right-hand side of the vehicle. With this release, one pull, it's going to release the seats and allow them to fold for you from the trunk here. Underneath the trunk space, we're going to find a considerable amount of storage space for any odds and ends, so they're not just rolling around in the trunk, and of course your spare tire and spare tool kit. This will include your jack, your lug nut wrench, a tow hook, and even a screwdriver. Installation and removal of the privacy cover here is a very simple process. This privacy cover has a spring-loaded portion on the right here that, if pulled to the left, will allow the privacy cover to be removed for full height or full depth storage capacity in the car. Let me demonstrate. The privacy cover in the Forester will have a spring-loaded portion here on the right-hand side. Simply slide down the privacy cover, grip the plastic portion, pull to the left, and the privacy cover can be pulled out and removed like so. Reinstallation is just as easy. I'm going to line up the square on the right and on the left-hand side here. So I would slide in the left square first, line up the square on the right, slide, and lock the privacy cover into place. Once it's locked in place, I will grab the rear portion here and place it on the little shelves that are built into the plastic portions of the car here. At this point, I can now use the privacy cover again, stow, or deploy it as I see fit. The rear door sill will include several different controls, including those for our door, our windows, and our child safety locks. The door controls include our door locks and our door handle, and our window controls allow us to pull up to raise and push down to lower the window. The child safety locks, if we press down on the lever here, will be engaged. When this feature is engaged, the inside door handle will be inoperable, and any occupant that is seated on this side of the car will have to be let out using the exterior door handle on this door. We also have the ability to fold the rear seats in a 40-60 split in order to gain access to more trunk space. This can be done simply by pulling up on this plunger here, and that will release the seat back and allow it to fold flat for us. The seat back can be pulled up and locked back into place like so with a firm push. Just keep in mind, if you release the seat and do push it back, but you see red on the plunger still, that indicates to you that the seat backs are not locked in place. Just give them another nice firm push and they're going to lock in place for you from there. All the same controls will be on the opposite side of the vehicle also. Again, another plunger to allow the seat to fold, and you'd simply push the seat back upright in order to lock it back in place. If we take a closer look at the back seats of Forester Premium and Up models, you'll find a little pull tab here in the corner on either side. Pulling on this tab will actually release the seat backrest and allow us to change the angle of it. Releasing the tab will allow the backrest to lock in place, and of course pulling the tab again will allow that backrest to return to its upright position. Same controls are available on the other side as well, remember, on Forester Premium and up models. Along the driver's door sill, we're going to find several additional controls. Starting with this cluster of buttons here, working our way from the bottom to the top, we're going to have our window locks. Pressing this button in will lock out the adjustment of any of the windows in the car. Pressing it again will disable that feature and allow that adjustment to occur. Here we're going to have the rear as well as the front window adjustments and our door locks here. Of course, the lock and the unlock button. Keep in mind, pressing the unlock button will allow us to access the gas cap when we pull up to a gas station. Now, above the lock and unlock buttons, we'll find our mirror adjustments. We're going to twist this knob either to the right to adjust the right mirror or to the left to adjust the left mirror. Once we've selected a mirror to adjust, we're going to push the knob in the direction we'd like to adjust that mirror in. So again, left or right or up or down, however we'd like to adjust the mirror, it will adjust so accordingly for us. We can twist that dial to the center position to lock both mirrors out from adjustment. Above those controls, we'll find our door handle and our manual door locks if that's something we ever need to use, and our seat settings here. If your vehicle is equipped with memory seat settings, you're going to be able to set these by first adjusting the seat to where you'd like it to be, and then press and hold the set button, as well as either the number 1 or the number 2, again, whichever preset you'd like to save it as. And you would hear a little beep from the car, and that preset would be saved for you. If we take a closer look at the driver's cabin of our Forester, we'll find the seat controls here, the steering wheel controls here, a cluster of up to 8 buttons here, and the release for our hood here. On models equipped with an adjustable power seat, you'll find several different controls here. The rearmost control will adjust your lumbar support, more or less lumbar. The center lever will adjust the angle of the backrest, forward and backward, and this front lever will serve several different purposes. The front part of the lever will actually raise and lower the front part of the seat, whereas the back part of the lever will raise and lower the entire seat. Sliding this lever forward or backward will actually move the seat forward and backward as well. Let me demonstrate. Again, lowering the seat, raising the seat, lowering the front portion of the seat, raising the front portion of the seat, and sliding the seat back or forward. Now we're going to take a closer look at this cluster of buttons, but before we do so, I do just want to point out the release for our hood is situated here on the lower left. We slide our fingers under, pull, and that releases the hood for us. You'll also find the release for the tilting and telescoping adjustable steering wheel here. Pull down, that's going to unlock the wheel and allow it to adjust in and out, as well as up and down. Once the wheel is adjusted comfortably, it can be locked in place like so. Lastly, I want to point out the trip reset button here. This will allow us to switch between trip A, trip B, and pressing and holding this button will allow us to zero out the trip. Now let's take a closer look at this set of buttons here. If your vehicle is equipped with a power liftgate, you'll find this button on the left here, as well as this button labeled memory. The top leftmost button will open or close our trunk for us with about a 3-second press and hold. The memory button here, pressing it in, will actually turn on our custom memory height. This will allow the trunk to open to whatever custom height that we have set it to. Alternatively, if we press this button again, it will disable that custom height and allow the trunk to open fully for us. Situated between those buttons, if your vehicle is equipped with steering responsive headlights, you'll find the off button for that feature. This is a feature that as you steer the wheel, will allow the headlights to pivot as well for you. This means that as you go around a bend or a corner, the headlights will light up the road around that bend rather than just straight ahead in front of the vehicle. If you ever decide you want to turn that feature off, you can press this button here and you'll see an icon on the dash matching that button identically, letting you know that the feature is disabled. On the top right corner of this cluster of buttons, you'll find the adjustment for the brightness of the radio as well as the gauges. We could simply spin this dial up or down to adjust the brightness as needed. Now the bottom row of buttons here will include our vehicle dynamics control, as well as our auto start stop off buttons. If your vehicle is equipped with blind spot detection, you'll find the off button for that feature here. And if your vehicle is equipped with driver focus, you'll be able to disable that feature from here also, if you so choose to. The vehicle dynamics control here on the lower left is a very basic safety feature. It's one that helps maintain traction between the tires and the road surface, and under most circumstances, is one that you'd want to leave on. If you do happen to find yourself stuck in, say, a snowed-in parking spot, or in the mud, disabling this feature may allow some wheel spin to occur and may help us get out of that stuck situation. Once you're out of that situation, turn the feature back on, and in most normal day-to-day driving, this is a feature that you'd want to leave on, keeping in mind that the car defaults to the feature being on for you. To the right of the vehicle dynamics control off button, we will also find the off button for our auto start stop feature. The auto start stop is a feature that's designed to avoid excessive idling, emissions, and save some gas. This is a feature that, if the vehicle is at a stop with your foot on the brake, may temporarily shut off the engine while allowing all other functions that were previously used to continue working. That means if your AC or heat or radio was on, it will continue to be on. You just may notice that the engine has shut off momentarily. Taking your foot off the brake will indicate to the vehicle that you're ready to go again. The engine will start up instantaneously, and in that split second it takes you to move your foot from the brake to the gas pedal, the car will be ready to take off to your next destination without any hesitation or delay. If your vehicle is equipped with blind spot detection, you'll find the off button for that feature here. When the feature is active, on either side view mirror, you'll see an orange icon illuminate in a rectangle on the mirror housing. Keep in mind this will be only a visual warning, and if it ever does become a distraction or a nuisance, it can be simply turned off by giving this button one press here. If your vehicle is equipped with the driver focus system, that feature can be disabled in the lower right corner here with a simple press of a button. I'll go into more detail in regards to the system in just a bit from inside the car, as well as how to set that feature up if that's something that interests you. On Subaru Forester and Ascent models equipped with a power liftgate, a memory height feature will be available. This feature may be useful if the fully extended height of the liftgate is difficult to reach or if overhead clearance is an issue. Setting this custom memory height is a very simple process. It's going to involve us opening our trunk. Once the trunk is fully open, we'll be able to press inside the vehicle the memory height button. We're going to press this button in. Pressing this button in will indicate to the vehicle that we want to utilize our memory height. And from that point, we'll be able to adjust by hand manually, slowly the trunk to whatever new height we prefer. And then by pressing and holding the right trunk close button here on the hatch itself for about 3 to 5 seconds, that will now save the new height for us. Now remember, there's 2 buttons here on the trunk itself. The one on the left looks like a lock. We're going to be using the button that looks like our trunk opening and closing. Now anytime we open and close the trunk, it's going to open to our new custom memory height. And also, if we ever decide that we want the trunk to open fully for us, we can simply press that memory height button again. The feature will no longer be enabled, and from there, now when we open the trunk, it'll open fully for us. That means at any point in time, we can take advantage of 2 different heights depending on how that memory height button is pressed. On models equipped with keyless access, you're also going to have a push to start button on the dash. Rather than having a standard slot for a key on the steering column, you're now going to have a push start stop button to the right of the wheel. Now, this button requires you to have your foot on the brake in order to start the car. Putting our foot on the brake, we see a green light on the button, allowing us to then push the button once, and just like that, our car would turn on for us. If we wanted to turn the car off, all we would do is then press the button again, and the car would turn off for us from there. Now we're going to move on to the steering wheel. The steering wheel is going to have quite a few controls built in on both the left and the right hand sides of the wheel. The left hand side is going to be mostly convenience features. It's going to be an extension of the controls that we have access to from the radio here on our right. Nice to have those hands-free features built into the car, of course. On the right hand side, we're going to have some of our Eyesight features. These are going to include our adaptive cruise control as well as our lane centering. I'll go into those in more detail later on. We're going to start on the left-hand side here with the left and right arrows at the top of this left portion. These left and right arrows are going to allow us to search, seek, scan, and scroll through our various radio stations and tracks, as well as switch through presets. For example, as you can see here, switching through the presets that I have previously saved for my radio. We're going to have volume adjustment here, of course. Turn the volume up or down using the toggle simply with a finger. Now, source will actually change our inputs. Let's say we had a CD in the vehicle or our phone connected via Bluetooth. I could press the source button here and it would actually switch through either the various connected devices or the radio station frequencies. Now, the voice command button here will trigger a voice command prompt in the vehicle, allowing you to not only control your audio, also if the vehicle comes equipped with navigation, you can again verbally start directions to a destination if that's something you so choose to do. Now, on the bottom portion here, we have an answer as well as a hang up button. These are going to be for our hands-free phone call features. Again, the answer button for picking up calls, the hang up button for ending a call or canceling an incoming call as well. Set behind the wheel, you're going to have up and down arrows here that you can pull towards you with your fingertips. If you look on the center screen here, you'll notice that as I pull the up arrow, it's actually going to change what I see on this display. Pulling the down arrow will actually also change what I see on the display, instead working its way backwards through the various screens available to me here. Again, we're going to have a digital speedometer, a trip timer, and a trip distance meter, our miles per gallon, as well as a distance to empty estimate, depending on the amount of fuel that we have left in the tank, average fuel economy for the particular trip. We have a trip reset button here that's going to allow us to switch between trip A and trip B, and we can actually keep track of the various fuel economies that we have for those particular trips as well. Pressing and holding the trip reset button will, of course, zero out the trip meter for us. Moving on, we're going to have a settings screen here, as well as a screen that shows tire pressure in all 4 wheels. And then, of course, back to our digital speedometer. Now, using the down button, I would be able to go through those same screens, those same menus, simply in the reverse order that I had just gone through them in. The center button here with an I and a set on it will, if there's any information the car has to display, will bring that information up for you on the center display here. Alternatively, if you are on the settings screen here, pressing and holding for about 3 to 5 seconds will bring you into a more in-depth settings menu if there's anything in particular that you'd like to adjust. Other than that, we can move on to the right-hand side of the steering wheel here. Of course, a wonderful feature that we're going to have in the vehicle is going to be our heated steering wheel if equipped. on and off with one touch of the button. And then on the right and on the left, you're also going to have paddle shifters. These paddle shifters are part of our virtual manual mode that we have available in the car. That's something I'm going to discuss more in depth later on. You'll notice on the left as well as on the right, we have stalks. On the left will be our headlight stalk. Pull towards us for a flash of the high beams, push out to turn them on, up for right blinker and down for left blinker. And then of course we're gonna have, by spinning the outer portion of the dial here, off if equipped auto, running lights and on, as well as the ability to turn, if equipped, our fog lights on and off using the inner portion here. The wiper stalk similarly will again turn on the wipers for one streak by pressing up, down for your intermittent adjust, slow and fast speeds. And of course, on your intermittent speed, you have an adjustment here by spinning this inner dial portion. On the outer portion of the wiper stalk are going to be your rear wiper controls. You're going to have off, intermittent, and on for the rear wiper. Pressing and holding, or rather twisting and holding forward or backward, will actually release washer fluid to the rear window. And then of course pulling the wiper stalk towards us will release washer fluid to the front window as well. That does just about wrap up the steering wheel. We're going to go over these Eyesight features in just a little bit. On Forester, Crosstrek, and Impreza models, you'll notice where the voice command feature was originally located, we now have an info button. The voice command feature is still available hands-free on the steering wheel. It's now serving dual duty with the answer button here. That means when you have an incoming call, the answer button would function as it normally would. Otherwise, any other time, pressing the answer button will launch the voice command prompt for you to take advantage of from there. The info button here, on the other hand, will control our upper radio display. This one button will control every screen that we see here on this upper display. We're just going to press the info button repeatedly, and you'll see that this upper screen is changing the various information that it has available to us. On Forester, Crosstrek, and Impreza models, another difference you may notice on the right side of the steering wheel is the inclusion of the SI drive modes. If your vehicle is equipped with SI drive, you'll have access to a sport and an intelligent drive mode. A simple click of the button will change between the two drive modes that we have to choose from, visible to us on this upper display, with the changing of the color and the shape of the graph. By default, the car is in the intelligent drive mode. That's going to get us the best fuel economy. If you're looking for a little bit more power, a little bit more throttle response out of your vehicle, the sport mode is available to us here on the left. Simple click of the button, and that's going to give us access to all the power the car has to offer us. As I mentioned previously, the info button here on the left-hand side of the wheel will control the information that we see on this upper radio display. This upper display will have a combination of technical and multimedia information about the vehicle, as well as some redundant information that we can gain access to from the center screen here. Currently, we're looking at a safety screen, which will show us all of the various safety features that we have active and available to us. A screen showing us where our symmetrical all-wheel drive system is sending the power, as well as the angle of ascent and descent. Water temp, oil temp, and average speed, as well as the weather. If your vehicle is equipped with navigation, the directions can appear here. Whatever media you may be currently playing, the distance to empty, average miles per gallon, and instantaneous miles per gallon, as well as a clock and a settings screen with some more detailed settings about the vehicle that you're able to adjust. Remember, these screens all cycle through, so you would simply keep on pressing this info button until you find the screen that you're looking for on this upper display. On Forester touring models, your vehicle will come equipped with a driver focus system. This driver focus system will alert the driver if they are distracted, drowsy, or just not paying attention to the road, as well as will allow the vehicle to be personalized to you as an individual anytime you enter the car. Let's take a look at the setup procedure that we need to go through in order to utilize this feature. One important thing to note is that on the center display here, as well as the radio display here, the settings screens cannot be opened, as that will cause some difficulty in the setup procedure. Now, for this process, we will be using the info button here on the wheel, and the up and down arrows behind the wheel, and the set button located between them. We're going to press this info button repeatedly until on this upper display, we see the last screen, the settings screen, appear for us. This screen will say push and hold info button for selection screen, and we're going to do so for about 3 to 5 seconds until a new screen pops up for us. At this point, we're going to use the down button set behind the wheel to move down 1 step, and then we're going to press the set button located between those up and down arrows to select the driver monitoring system. At this point, we're going to press the down button once, twice, and 3 times, and on register user, we're going to press the center set button. We're now going to have the option to register several different users. I'm going to select user 1 here, and then we're going to adjust the seat as well as the mirror positions as I'd like them to be set for my profile. And once I've done so, I'm going to press the center set button 1 more time. But before I do, I'm going to use either the up or the down arrow to move the cursor to set. It will now be illuminated in yellow, and I can press the center button to start the process. Now I'm going to look straight ahead and slowly pan my gaze across the front of the car. You'll hear a beep from the vehicle as it registers your position and your user profile. User 1 is now registered, and I will now input a name, again using the up and down arrows here to switch positions, and the set button to select which letter we are adjusting. My name is Dave, so the D is fine there. I just pressed the down arrow to move over 1 spot. I will now select set using the center button and use the up and down arrows to cycle through the alphabet until I find A. And I will continue to do so, again pressing the down arrow or the up arrow until I have a name that I would like to be referred to as by the car. Once I have that name selected, I can now use the down arrow to go all the way to the right and select an image also. And then 1 more time, press down to complete this setup procedure and set my user name and profile in the system. Now, anytime that I enter the vehicle, I will be recognized and the car will adjust the seats, the mirrors, and the radio profile to my settings. This can be done for up to 5 different users in the car, and they can all have a unique driver focus profile. Again, using the up and down arrows, I'm going to scroll over to the go back button here. I will use the center set button to work my way back through the menus. And if at any point in time I wanted to either repeat the facial scan or update the user settings or the driver position, I can do so from here. Again, this is all using the up and down arrows, and once we're done, we can work our way to the bottom of this menu, use the center button to go back, and 1 more time, go back to our initial info screen and press this info button to return to any of the various information displays that we have available to us on this upper radio display. On the right hand side of the steering wheel, we're going to have access to some of the controls for some of our Eyesight features. On the right here, we're going to have our lane keep assist on off, as well as our adaptive cruise control on off buttons. Now, if you're new to the adaptive cruise control system here at Subaru, it's going to be a wonderful update over the standard cruise control system that you may be used to from the past. Previously, with our standard cruise control system, we were only able to set a single speed for our car to maintain, and then it would maintain that speed for us until we input a brake command or pressed a cancel button. With the adaptive cruise control, we're able to set an upper speed that we want the car to not surpass, as well as a following distance that we'd like our vehicle to maintain from the car in front of us as we're traveling down the road. With these parameters, our vehicle is then actually able to fluctuate speed on our behalf, slowing down if necessary, or speeding up but never surpassing the upper speed that we have set for our adaptive cruise control system. This means that where in the past, if we had our cruise control set to 55 and the car in front of us slowed down to say 50, we'd have to input a brake command, slow down our vehicle, and then either set a new cruise control speed or resume the previously set speed. Now we are able to have our car keep pace with the vehicle in front of us, as well as maintain a following distance that we are able to set for whatever fits our driving style and needs best. We are going to have access to this system on the right here. The top rightmost button will turn on and off the adaptive cruise control system. We'll be able to turn on the cruise control feature, and we'll know that's the case because we'll see a matching icon on the left-hand side of the screen here. It's going to match the button that we pressed on the right here identically to what you see on the display. Now from there, we have a toggle here, set and resume, set by pressing down on the toggle, resume by pressing up on the toggle. Again, we would turn on the cruise control, reach a certain speed. Once we've reached that speed, we'd be able to set the cruise control speed. And then using these two buttons here, we'd actually be able to both increase or decrease the following distance between us and the vehicle in front of us. Now that following distance is indicated here, more and less bars on the dash. Again, 1 bar will be the closest following distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and 4 bars will actually be the furthest following distance between you and the car ahead. I recommend most people start out on 4 bars, which will be the furthest distance, and once you're comfortable with the adaptive cruise control system, if it's something that's new for you, work your way down to however many bars you may prefer. Other than that, anytime that you do, of course, press the brake pedal, the adaptive cruise control system will be disabled. It will no longer be maintaining a following distance or a pace with the vehicle ahead. And again, at that point in time, you will either have to set a new speed for the car to maintain or resume the previously set speed that you have set prior. Lastly, pressing this button here will fully turn off the adaptive cruise control system. Now, one other feature that may interest some drivers, if they prefer the standard cruise control system to the adaptive cruise control system, when the cruise control is on, pressing and holding either the down or the up button here will actually revert the cruise control system to standard cruise control rather than adaptive. Another 3 to 5 second press and hold will revert it back to the adaptive cruise control system that we had active previously. I'm going to turn it off for now, and we're going to move on to another feature here on the steering wheel. Now, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here, we're going to have our lane keep assist feature. This will be a simple on and off feature. We'll know it's on when we see the matching icon on the dash on the right-hand side here. Again, the icon will match the button that we pressed identically. I like to mention this feature with another feature that we have situated on the roof on the right here. I'm going to point out this feature in just a moment, but I'll discuss it with you now. We have our lane keep assist as well as our lane departure features in the vehicle. The lane departure warning is an audio-visual alert. It's a passive warning, giving you a light on the dash as well as a beep from the speakers. Again, an audio-visual alert letting you know that you're leaving your lane, and from there what you do with this information is up to you. The lane keep assist, on the other hand, will actively help keep our vehicle centered in the lane if we're swaying left or right. Again, you may feel a little nudge, a vibration, a motion in the wheel, and the car will help correctively guide you back to the center of your lane if you're swaying to the left or to the right in it. Now keep in mind, it's not a self-driving car. At no point in time do we take our hands off the wheel when these features are active. They work with us, not for us. Again, these are all great tools and assists that help improve our day-to-day driving experience, not do the driving for us. Aside from that, we're going to move on to the lane departure warning, and we're going to find the on-off buttons for that feature on the ceiling of our car. On 2020 Subaru Forester models, instead of the lane keep assist feature, you'll find the lane centering feature here on the lower right portion of your steering wheel. The lane centering feature will build upon the lane keep assist feature that is also included in this vehicle. One important note to make is that the lane centering feature is only available when using our adaptive cruise control. If not using the adaptive cruise control, the lane centering feature will function just as lane keep assist did in the past, inputting a gentle nudge or a vibration in the steering wheel if swaying to the left or to the right in your lane. The lane centering feature, on the other hand, will help prevent that initial sway from happening. That means that there will be a firmness in the wheel, and the car will help maintain your centered position in the lane as you are traveling down the road. Remember, an important reminder is that this feature is only available when using our adaptive cruise control. So anytime that both of these features are not active in conjunction, anytime you don't see both the adaptive cruise control icon and the lane centering icon on the dash, that means that the lane keep assist type function will be active for you instead. Moving on from the steering wheel, on the roof of the car, you're going to find some extended eyesight controls. On the left here, we are going to have our lane departure warning, and on the right, we are going to have our pre-collision brake assist. Now, the lane departure warning, here on the left again, is going to be an audio-visual alert. It's going to be a passive warning where the car issues a beep from the speakers and a light on the dash, giving you a warning that you're leaving your lane or swaying within it, and then from there, it is your decision to make the correction. Again, keep in mind the lane keep assist, on the other hand, if active, can input that little nudge, the vibration, the motion in the wheel, and help correctively guide you back to the center of your lane. Remember, with both of these features, as long as we're using our blinkers properly, they're not going to interfere with our day-to-day driving. Again, the car will know that we mean to make a lane change or cross over a lane, and neither of these features will alert. Now, here on the right, we have our pre-collision brake assist. This is a feature where the car is able to apply the brakes either for us or with us. That means that the car is actually able to apply more brake pressure than we are on our behalf. So if we're approaching an obstacle or an object at too great of a speed and already slowing down, but not applying enough brake pressure, this feature can apply even more brake pressure than we already are. Alternatively, if we're distracted, drowsy, or something unexpected pops up in front of us, this feature can apply up to 100% of the brakes on its own in an attempt to slow us down as much as possible or bring us to a stop if possible to do so. Again, both the lane departure warning and the pre-collision brake assist are a 3-second press and hold of the button. To turn off the lane departure warning, I would press and hold for 3 seconds, hear a beep, and see a matching light on the dash indicating that that feature is disabled. Similarly so, I would press and hold the pre-collision brake assist to turn that feature off as well, hearing a beep to indicate that it's off. Turning it back on is as simple as pressing and holding for about 3 seconds, hearing a beep, and no longer seeing a light on the dash will indicate that the feature is back on for you. I'm going to do the same for the lane departure warning, and we're going to hear a beep and we'll no longer see a light on the dash indicating so. Now, a very important thing to keep in mind is the pre-collision brake assist here is a feature that we're going to be turning off in an automatic car wash. That's something that Subaru recommends doing. So anytime you're taking the vehicle through an automatic car wash, I'm going to recommend pressing and holding that button for about 3 seconds till you see an orange light on the dash matching the button, and then that will indicate to you that the feature is disabled and it's safe to go through that car wash. Once you're out, you can simply turn the feature right back on again with another 3-second press and hold. Now, on the left-hand side here, we are going to have a red and a blue button. These are going to be our Starlink, Enhanced Roadside Assistance, and SOS Emergency Assistance buttons. The red button on the left here is going to have SOS on it. If we were to press that button in case of an emergency, it would reach out to a Starlink customer care advisor, and from there, help would be on the way. Again, that's there for an emergency if you need fire, police, or ambulance, something along those lines. The blue I button, on the other hand, is going to be Enhanced Roadside Assistance. So if you ever do find yourself in a situation where help is needed, but it might not necessarily be an emergency situation, press the blue button. Again, a representative will reach out, and whatever help is required will be sent on its way. Again, that's there if you have a flat tire, a dead battery, you ran out of gas, you need a tow, you're stuck on the side of the road, the blue button is there to help. Differentiate between the two, the red, of course, for emergency situations. And to wrap up the buttons that we have located here on the roof of our car, on the right, we're going to have a slide switch. 2 positions. On the right, it's going to have these overhead lights set to off. When we have the switch slid to the left, it's going to, again, turn the lights on for us when we open the door. Great for seeing what's going on in the vehicle at night. I tend to leave this switch in the door position. You can also, of course, turn on your lights by simply pressing on them on and off, one touch, just like so. Super easy to access. If your Forester is equipped with a panoramic moonroof, it's a very simple process to open or close it. It's going to be a one-touch switch situated right here on either side of your Eyesight buttons. Pressing back on this switch towards the rear of the car will open the moonroof, and pressing forwards on this switch will close it for us also. For those new to the Eyesight safety system that is offered in our Subaru vehicles, these are the Eyesight cameras, one on the left and one on the right. These cameras are the backbone of our Eyesight safety system, taking in information from the road in front of us and helping us make decisions with that information. Now, these cameras, just like our eyes, hence the namesake Eyesight, if we can't see, they can't see. That means if their vision is impeded or obscured, heavy snow, heavy rain, mist, fog, physical dirt, mud, rock salt, very common in the winter season, for example. If the cameras cannot see the road ahead clearly, you may see on your dash a message that indicates no eyesight or eyesight disabled. If that's the case, I want you to know it's functioning as it should. I'm sure you'll agree, rather than making inaccurate safety decisions, we'd rather disable the systems till accurate ones can be made again. That means if you ever do see that message appear on your dash, there's no need to pull over, just be aware of what's going on. Simply clean off the windshield using your wipers. If you have some severely caked on mud, maybe a squeegee from a gas station might be necessary. Or if it's weather that's causing the message to appear, simply wait for the weather to shift, and again, that message will resolve itself. Keep in mind, these features will be disabled until the message is resolved, But again, the car will function as it normally would, simply without the Eyesight features. Now, these cameras can of course have their vision obscured from inside the vehicle as well. In order to ensure that we don't do so with an easy pass or something along those lines, what I like to do is I'm actually going to take my hands and I'm going to draw 2 vertical lines from either edge of the camera straight down the windshield. Again, 2 vertical lines from either edge of the cameras down the windshield, and that's going to divide the windshield into 1, 2, and then 3 portions for us. The 3 virtual portions that we've just created, you're going to want to avoid objects in the center area here. So again, 2 vertical lines from either edge of the camera, straight down the windshield, dividing it into 1, 2, and 3 portions. You're going to want to avoid objects in the middle here. That means that your easy pass will go to the left or to the right of the cameras. I recommend mounting it here in order to not block your visibility here as a driver, but again, either to the left or to the right of the cameras should suffice. Below the radio display, you'll find your climate controls in the form of 3 dials. If your vehicle is equipped with digital climate controls, the inputs from these dials here will be visible to you on the upper radio display here. Working our way from left to right, we're going to have the temperature adjustment, the fan speed, and the airflow location. Any changes to the knobs on the lower portion here will be visible to us on this upper display. So as I change the temperature on the left, you'll see the temperature is also changing for me here. As I change the fan speed, the vehicle will do the same, and the airflow location also. We're going to take a closer look at the buttons that are on the dials themselves and go over the features that those can turn on and off for you. Now let's take a closer look at the climate controls. Again, working our way left to right, we're going to have the temperature, the fan speed, and the airflow location. The temperature dial will have the on-off button for our climate control system, as well as our full auto mode. The fan speed dial will house our recirculation on-off button, and the mode or airflow location dial will allow us to turn on and off our front and our rear defrosters. Again, these are a simple click of the dials. And keep in mind, if your vehicle is equipped with heated side view mirrors and heated wiper blades, the rear defroster will turn on all 3 features at once. AC can be turned on and off here on the left, and max AC can be turned on and off here on the right. Now, pressing this max AC button will actually get the fan speed as high as possible and send the coolest air possible through the air vents. Again, this is a simple 1 touch to turn on the max AC feature and 1 touch to turn it off. Circulation can be turned on and off here in the center. And our full auto mode will be available to us here on the left. Now, the full auto mode is a 1 touch feature. You simply turn on the full auto mode, and from there you adjust the temperature to your liking, and the car will fluctuate the fan speed and airflow location as necessary to reach and then maintain that temperature on our behalf. Keep in mind, if we adjust anything other than the temperature, such as the airflow location or the fan speed, you'll notice that the full auto mode turns off for me. So remember, think of this as a set it and forget it feature. Good for long trips. You set the temperature, the car will reach that temperature and then maintain that temperature for us. We can finally turn off the climate control system fully with a simple touch of the on-off button here, as we did initially to turn it on. Now we also have our hazard lights here, and in the little cubby below we have our USB ports, our auxiliary input, and a 12-volt power port, if you need to connect any devices on the lower right here. Vehicles equipped with a dual zone climate control system will have a slightly different layout compared to the single zone system. In a dual zone climate control system, both the driver and passenger each have access to their own temperature zones. This means that there are now 2 dials to adjust the temperatures rather than just one in the past. On the left and right hand sides, you'll find those temperature adjustment dials. The left one will adjust the driver's temperature and the right one will adjust the passenger's. The front and rear defrosters are still situated on the rightmost dial, and the leftmost dial still includes our auto and on-off buttons. In the center, we still adjust our fan speed by spinning the dial and turn on and off circulation by pressing it in or out. AC as well as max AC can still be turned on and off on the top row of buttons here, but now we have 2 additional buttons, Mode and Sync. Mode takes the place of the right dial. We're now going to press the Mode button repeatedly to change the airflow location rather than spinning a dial as we did with the single zone system. Sync will actually match both the driver and passenger side temperatures to the driver's temperature, making the vehicle function as if it had a single climate zone. Just like our single zone climate control system, the adjustments from our dual zone system here will be visible on this upper radio display here. That means that if I turn on my climate control system, I can see the adjustments to either the passenger or the driver's side, adjustments to the fan speed, and the airflow location or the mode on this upper screen. I also have the ability to sync both sides to the driver's side, where it will function as a single climate zone. There are some additional features your rear passengers can take advantage of if equipped on your vehicle. Some additional airflow can be had thanks to the vents here, and if your vehicle comes equipped with heated rear seats, you'll have the ability to turn those on with the press of a button here with a high, a low, and an off option for either side. And lastly, in the center, if equipped, 2 additional USBs for your passengers in the rear to be able to connect and charge their devices. If we take a look at the center console on your Forester, we'll see our shifter, as well as some additional controls here. Now, if we grip the shifter and pull on the trigger on the front, we could shift down through our gears from park to reverse to neutral and down to drive. Now, if your vehicle is equipped with a virtual manual mode, we have an additional M on the shifter if we move it to the left like so. Moving the shifter to the left will give us access to our virtual manual mode, again if equipped on your vehicle, with which we are able to take advantage of the paddle shifters located behind the wheel, a minus on the left and a plus on the right, which will allow us to shift through those various virtual gears that the car has to offer us. If using this manual mode is something you prefer not to do, simply leave the car in D for drive and the car will shift through those gears on our behalf. Keep in mind, if your vehicle is not equipped with the manual mode, here in its place you will find an L for low gear. Again, to access that gear, if equipped on your vehicle, simply move the shifter over to the left and you'll have access to it. Now, anytime we shift the vehicle into reverse, we're going to see on our upper radio display our backup camera. Now, this backup camera is going to have red, yellow, as well as green lines to indicate distance for us. The red lines will, of course, be the closest distance, the yellow will be further, and the green will be further still. At the bottom of the radio display here, you can actually see on this particular model, we have chrome trim on the bumper. On our Subarus, you'll be able to see the back bumper at the bottom of your rear view camera here in order to give you a physical reference of how close or far you are from an object, rather than relying solely on the red, the yellow, or the green lines alone. Again, in most instances, stopping at the red lines here will be, again, a safe distance, but the physical reference at the bottom of the screen here lets you make that final decision yourself. On vehicles equipped with the reverse automatic braking and the audio-visual sonar and rear cross traffic alert, we are going to be able to turn these features on or off as we see fit or necessary. For either of these features, it's going to be a 1, 2, and 3 second press and hold. And now you will see, rather than saying on, the icon will say off for us. Same goes for the reverse automatic braking here, a 3 second press and hold, and the feature will be turned off. Again, for either of these features, another 3 second press and hold will turn them back on if you so choose to. Now, the audio-visual sonar on the right here is going to display on the screen colored squares or rectangles to visually indicate how close or far we are from an object. And then it's also going to give us an audible warning through the speakers of the car if we're getting too close. It's going to be a tone that's going to increase in frequency as well as volume if that's something that your vehicle is equipped with. Now, the reverse automatic braking can, when in reverse, actually help us by applying brake pressure. This can stop our car if we're approaching an obstacle or an object at too great of a speed in reverse. Again, a great feature. Nice to have a second set of eyes looking out for us there. Keep in mind the reverse automatic braking might be necessary to turn off if you are parallel parking the vehicle or just trying to get a little closer than the car may let you. If you notice that the reverse automatic braking is engaging before you're able to get close enough to the object that you are in front of, you can simply again press and hold for 3 seconds the reverse automatic braking feature till it's turned off for you, and then you'll be able to get as close as you would like to that object. Keep in mind, you'll see on the screen here as well as on the dash that the feature is off for you. Other than that, a wonderful feature that's going to be on all of our Subarus are the predictive course lines. If I was to take my hands and spin the wheel, you would see on the display orange lines here on the left and on the right. They're going to be curving for us as we turn the wheel. And these are actually going to show us the direction of travel that the car will have as we're driving in reverse. These are really useful in order to help lining up a parking spot or pulling into a driveway backwards. Aside from that, anytime we shift the car into park and then back into reverse, both of these features will turn themselves back on if they were disabled previously. Below the shifter, we'll find our electronic parking brake, as well as our AVH automatic vehicle hold features. If the electronic parking brake is something that's new to you, it's a very simple transition from the pull handle that you may have been used to in the past. With the pull handle previously, we would pull up to engage it, and by pressing on the button on the top, we could then push down to disengage the parking brake. The electronic parking brake functions in a similar manner, but again with a lot less effort on our behalf. Simply slide our finger under the lever here and pull up to engage the electronic parking brake. And then to disengage, we put our foot on the brake and push down to release. Again, like I mentioned, I find it easy to think of this similarly so to the pull handle. We're pulling up to engage, and with our foot on the brake, we're pushing down to disengage. Keep in mind, when this feature is engaged, the red light on the lever is illuminated, and you also see a red light on your dash, indicating that the parking brake is active. Now, the AVH feature here is an automatic vehicle hold. This is a feature that helps prevent rollbacks where they may have occurred in the past. With this feature engaged, we are able to come to a complete stop with our foot on the brake, and then at that point, the car is able to match and maintain that brake pressure for us. This means that if we let go of the brake pedal, we would no longer experience any rollback, and we can actually now rest our foot at those long red lights and stop signs. Once you're ready to go, you simply touch the gas pedal, the car releases the brakes, and you're able to take off to your next destination without any delay or hesitation. If your vehicle is equipped with X mode, you'll find it in the form of a dial here. X mode will give us extra torque, extra power, and extra traction at the cost of speed. It's good anytime you're going 20 miles per hour or less in heavy snow, heavy rain, or find yourself doing any minor off-roading. Anytime you surpass that 20 mile per hour speed, the car will automatically disable the X mode feature. On vehicles equipped with a single mode X mode, you would simply press the dial down to turn the feature on and press it again to turn it off. On this particular model, we have our dual mode X mode, which gives us access to the snow and dirt option, as well as the deep snow and mud option. Now, these are both great options to take advantage of, but one important thing to keep in mind is when using the deep snow and mud X mode option, our vehicle dynamics control system is disabled. That means that in the deep snow and mud option, some wheel spin may occur, something important to keep in mind and be aware of when you are using this feature. Snow and dirt, on the other hand, as well as the single mode X mode, will leave the vehicle dynamics control enabled. So that is the feature that I recommend using in most situations you find yourself in. On the dual mode X mode, you would twist the dial either left or right to select either the snow and dirt or the deep snow and mud option, and you would press down on the dial to revert to our standard drive mode. It will default to the intelligent mode for you. To the right of the X mode, if equipped on your vehicle, you'll also find the heated seats here, a low and high option, low by pushing towards the rear of the vehicle and high by pushing towards the front. In the center position on these rockers, the heated seat feature is off. Keep in mind that your new Subaru will have a 1,000-mile break-in period. During these first 1,000 miles, you want to keep the engine under 4,000 RPM and allow the vehicle to see a variety of driving conditions as it would throughout its lifetime. You'll also want to avoid using the cruise control feature if you can do so. And keep in mind that your new Subaru has an oil change interval of either every 6 months or every 6,000 miles, whichever comes sooner, with full synthetic oil only. I hope that video was helpful. If you have any additional questions or concerns regarding anything in your vehicle, reach out to your salesperson. From there, they'll let me know and I'll get in touch via whatever means of communication works best for you. Whether that be phone, email, or text messaging, we're here to help at Ramsey Subaru and want to ensure that each and every one of our customers has an extraordinary shopping experience.